Hi guys, and welcome back to another Gab's cryptocurrency video where we trade by data and not by hype. And welcome to our live. And today we're going to check on Bitcoin on track. We are going to look at a chart which I believe not most of us are noticing or seeing, but we're going to dive into that chart later. Actually, this is the chart ng ating previous death cross, and we are about to enter a big signal na possibly will define the following days and the following month for the Bitcoin price. So, papasadahan natin siya, titingnan natin kung ano nga ba yung signal na nakikita natin ngayon sa death cross chart. So, now let's dive into this video first with the short-term price action with Bitcoin. So, as you could recall guys, meron tayong W pattern na nag-form for the for the 4-hour time frame. And right now, Bitcoin is still inside this resistance area. So, wala pa tayong wala pa tayong masasabi na pump or dump pa ngayon kasi we are still playing around this area. Ang kailangan na mangyari ngayon is this must break either to the upside or to the downside para masabi nating magkakaroon tayo ng move. So, yun yung kailangan natin i-check out ngayon. But for me, to be honest, it's better to wait this one out and hindi mo muna i-trade to. Kasi there's also another big news coming in tomorrow, which is the first day of the month. We'll also dive in deeper with the first day of the month theory na matagal na natin fina-follow and hopefully bigyan natin kayo ng update regarding the first day of the month. So, let's first look here at the Bitcoin price. So, tingnan muna natin in the 15-minute time frame. So, for the 15-minute time frame, we are actually forming this bullish divergence na nakita natin lately. So, bullish divergence is an increasing RSI with a declining price that would indicate a trend reversal to the upside, and we have actually saw that exactly as predicted. So, we have already played that one out. So right now, ano nga ba yung next move natin? So as of now, all we can say is Bitcoin will probably move sideways at this area, not unless magkaroon tayo ng possible breakout. So what I honestly think, Bitcoin might possibly play around this area lang, this area. Actually, ang tagal na natin dun sa area na yan. So as time goes by, nagko-converge yung mga iba't ibang indicators natin dito. So, titingnan natin yung indicators na yung mga nagko-converge dito. And ang converging indicators, that would mean a possible breakout anytime soon, regardless kung kahit anong time frame yan. So, titingnan natin yung indicators na yon. Pero yeah, right now, this might move sideways as of this moment kasi nga first of all, kagaling lang natin sa oversold RSI and possibly medyo for the very short term after natin mag-play ng bearish divergence, nag-play out na siya. Nag-play na yung bearish divergence and then nag-play out na rin yung bullish divergence. So we have to wait this one out bago tayo magsabi ng exact pump or dump movement. So as of now, this is a sideways action. So that's Bitcoin for the 15-minute time frame, and let's dive into a bigger time frame naman. Let's look at the early time frame. So for the early time frame naman, if you could recall naman guys, for the early time frame, may nakita tayong bearish divergence. So yun nga, nag-play out na siya. So tapos na siya. And ano ba yung sabi ko sa inyo na kailangan nyo tingnan when following the early and 4-hour time frame? As what I keep on saying, you need to follow the moving average. So buksan natin yung mga moving average. So ito yung mga moving averages natin. So ngayon, this is actually one of the first time ulit na si Bitcoin is above the 200 moving average ng early time frame. So this is a good sign na yeah, maganda yung area natin ngayon. And yeah, right now, the reason why I'm also considering a possible consolidation is because buksan natin yung 100 moving average lang. So usually, dapat ang mangyayari is makapag-catch up tayo kay 100 moving average. So if you're going to look at this closely, medyo matagal na tayong hindi nakapag-catch up sa 100 moving average. So ayan o, ibuksan na natin yung brush and then ayan. Hindi pa natin siya nakaka-catch up since this two touches. So what we actually want to see is Bitcoin touching the 100 moving average from time to time rather than maiwanan siya. Kasi let's say nag-pump siya ng sobrang lakas. Let's say dumiretso siya dyan. Pag nangyari yun, tapos gumanyan yung moving average, mas malakas ang magiging crash niya. So as much as possible, Bitcoin must retest the 100 moving average from time to time kahit papano para masabi nating good movement tayo and healthy yung pump natin. So for me, possible na this one is possible sideway action or possible dump. Pero for to be honest, I think this is more likely to be a sideway action just for us to catch up with the 100 moving average. So yeah, that's Bitcoin for this early time frame. Let's also look at the 20 moving average. So sabi ko nga sa inyo, yun yung kailangan nyo sundan. And then yeah, we broke the 20 moving average. So next support is the 50 moving average. So yeah, we actually broke the 50 moving average and we are actually playing around this area between the 100 moving average and the 50 moving average. And that's for the early. And nagkaroon din tayo ng bullish divergence for the early time frame. So ito lagyan din natin siya dito. So ito increasing RSI for the very short term lang din. So the smaller the divergence, the smaller the pump din. So the bigger the divergence, the bigger din the pump. So as much as possible, dapat mas makita tayo ng mas malaking divergence in order for us to see a healthy movement to the upside. So yeah, that's Bitcoin for the early naman. So let's try to also look naman now at other indicators. So MACD is also showing signs na the bears are starting to lose and anytime soon, as long as we keep on getting divergences, we might actually see a possible trend reversal na. So ito malit lang yung divergence natin, so malit lang yung pump niya. And yeah, natapos na siya, sabi ko sa inyo na pag nagkaroon na ng 4 hour candle close, doon tayo possibly makakita ng end sa kanyang pump. And yun nga, nangyari na nga. So nag-close na yung 4-hour candle close. So tingnan natin siya sa 4-hour candle. And here we go. Sa 4-hour time frame naman tayo. So let's look at the 4-hour time frame naman. So yun nga sabi natin, for the 4-hour time frame, meron tayong movement na fina-follow which is the double bottom pattern. So ito nga, double bottom. So double bottom. And right now we are actually playing around this area. So what Bitcoin needs to do is, of course, to break this resistance level for us to flip bullish for Bitcoin. Pero other than that, meron din tayo isa pang tinitingnan na indicator para masabi natin bullish na tayo for the 4-hour time frame, and that is the 200 moving average. So lately, nag-cross tayo above the 200 moving average and we actually got a rejection. Ayan o. So 200 moving average is actually a strong resistance. And if you're going to base historical data with the 200 moving average, every time Bitcoin is above the 200 moving average, it means bullish si Bitcoin pag above the 200 moving average ng 4-hour time frame. So ayan no, bigyan ko kayo na example. So this was a big bull market kasi above the 4-hour time frame 200 moving average tayo. And then after that, nung nag-break tayo ng 200 moving average, diyan tayo nakakita ng big downward movement kasi we went below the 200 moving average ng 4-hour time frame. So what does this mean? It means na Bitcoin must stay above the 200 moving average in order to flip very bullish for the Bitcoin price. So nakita na ba natin yun yung mag-play out yun? So let's look at the chart to answer that. So sa chart, we actually tested the 200 moving average twice. So buksan natin siya. So hi guys, nagkaroon ng internet connection problem, CPLDT. So not sure why, but yeah, nag-mobile data na lang ako. So let's continue where we left off for the Bitcoin price. Restart lang natin to saglit. So yeah, let's continue with the Bitcoin price for the short term. And let's try to look at this latest movement for the Bitcoin price. So yeah, so in order for us to flip bullish, kailangan natin ma-break yung 200 moving average. So yeah, this one should be the main thing that we should be following. And what can we also notice with the 200 moving average? You could also see na the 200 moving average is also showing us some signs na ito nga, itong 200 moving average is also playing out within this strong resistance area, which is this red area around 34 to 35 point K area. So same goes with this double bottom neckline, nandun din siya sa resistance area na to. So it seems like all all indicators are pointing out na ito nga yung possible strong resistance natin na kailangan natin ma-break. So it's either we dump from this or we break from this area. So possible din naman na mag-play tayo sideways within this area. Pero yeah, as much as possible, kailangan natin siya ma-break to the upside. So sa ngayon, hindi pa natin siya nakikita mag-play out, so kailangan natin siya abangan within the following days action. So for this one, we have so ayun nga, increasing RSI and then declining price, that would indicate a trend reversal to the upside already. And it's possible. So now let's try to look at this naman at another view. So let's change this chart lang ulit. So bumalik na yung PLDT Wi-Fi namin. Ang annoying lang ng PLDT. Ang weird ng PLDT lately. Parang from time to time, lagi siya nawawala ngayon unlike dati. But yeah, so quick rant lang kay PLDT. Pero ayun, so ayun nga, double bottom and we have to watch out for this trend ng pump to the upside. Pero right now, we are also forming another bullish divergence, so declining price and then increasing RSI. So possibly ito na yung pump and we might get rejected by this 20 moving average. But what we must see in the following days is for this to break. If na-break natin siya, saka lang tayo makita ng pump to the upside. So yun yung kailangan natin abangan guys, which is for this Bitcoin price to break above this 20 moving average. So if na-break natin siya, we can more likely see this action playing out. Itong action na bago after nyan, nagkaroon tayo ng golden cross. So we have to watch that one out guys before we flip very bullish for this chart. So yun nga, 20 moving average is yung next thing na kailangan natin tingnan for us to flip bullish with our Bitcoin price. So ngayon, let's try to look at this naman at a weekly time frame. So now we know na possible na if ma-break natin itong 20 moving average, yun na yung sign na ating inabangan na malapit na tayo magkaroon ng golden cross in the next few weeks. So siguro around 6 weeks from this point on after breaking this area, after breaking this 20 moving average. So yun yung kailangan natin tingnan. So let's now look at this at the weekly time frame naman. So for the weekly time frame, so ito yung matagal nating sinusundan din na chart. So erase ko lang siya. So ito guys, for the weekly time frame, I was keep on saying na, I keep on telling you guys na if magkaroon tayo ng drop, ang lowest point na makikita natin is the 50-week moving average. And look at this. We exactly got a strong rebound for this 50-week moving average. So what does this tells us? This can be a strong support kasi noong previous death cross, doon tayo nagkaroon ng support and right now we are getting that support na we have been waiting for around this area. So for me to be honest, honestly speaking, tingin ko ito na yung bottom around 28K up to 35K. So yun yung bottom for me if ako tatanungin nyo. Siguro yung mga iba sasabihin nila bottom nila is 15K. 15K, to be honest, parang sobrang imposible na yun kasi tinan mo. Ito yung ito yung market cycle natin na sinusundan. So yung green line, yun yung lowest point. So if bumagsak siya around 15K, that's more likely already impossible and that would mean natapos na yung ating bull market year. So yeah, sobrang imposible nun. And for this to go down to 15K real quick, tingnan nyo ha, for this to go down to 15K, let's look at this. So this dump was around 49%. So let's say if nagdump pa siya this lower to 15K, that would signify na around 76% dump. So I honestly believe that's unlikely na for me to happen. Sobrang imposible na kasi itong 200 moving averages is telling na the last time na nangyari yun was the coronavirus dump, which is yung imposibleng mangyari na ulit unless nagkaroon tayo ng malaking crisis. And the other one is yung bottom ng bear market. So the only time na na-enter natin tong area na to was during the lowest point of a bear market or a big crash na crisis talaga. And this one is actually not a very strong crisis. This is just a correction. So if you're going to look at historical data, nagkaroon na din tayo ng correction before. So it's not a new thing for this to happen. So to be honest, itong 15K, itong around yung 15K sobrang imposible na for me. And it's more likely na magstay tayo around 28 to 35K for us to consolidate. And if you're going to ask me ano na bang scenario na nag-play out ngayon, I honestly think this is a reaccumulation phase playing out kasi yun nga, we went down and then yun nga, we get supported in here. So if we played around this area pa din, that's a reaccumulation phase. It's because if we enter the brief bear market, this would mean that we would go below this 50 week moving average, and we did not see that happen yet. So if nag-cross siya below the 50-week moving average, only then we would consider a midterm bear market. Pero as of now, that's not yet happening. So I highly doubt that this is a midterm bear market or a bear market in general. So yun nga, and let's now look into another topic, which is the first day of the month pump. So if you have been following this channel for quite a while, you would know na every first day of the month, or actually first week of the month, that is where we are generally going to get pumps. So let's look at historical data for us to validate that theory. So ito May 31. So this means ito yung June 7, which is the first week of the month or from the first day. So this week start up to this week ending na June 7, we actually saw 9% pump from this area kahit nasa correction tayo during June. So first day of the pump, first day of the day, first day of the month nagkaroon tayo ng pump. Let's also look at the May. So April 26 in last week. So first week is May 3. We saw a pump also for at least 3%. So this was also during the correction phase then. So kahit papaano, nagkakaroon din tayo ng pump during the first day of the month. Pero let's look at more data. So for March naman, for April, let's look at April. So March ending 29. So first week, pump then for Bitcoin are at least 2%. Let's look at the start of March. So ito yung February, last month, last week of the month. So first week and first day, we saw 13% pump at least for Bitcoin. Let's look at February. So first February 1, this is 16%. And then let's also look at another data, January. We also saw another pump na naman, 15%. So what is this telling us? It's more likely na we would get a pump within the first week of the month if history is any indication. So, yun nga, history siya. So, it's more likely na magkaroon tayo ng pump at those area during this Bitcoin season. So, yun, if I were you, I would try to siguro take into consideration this theory na yun nga, first day of the month. But yeah, hindi pa natin siya masasabi kung ano talaga mangyari unless dumating na tayo sa day na yun. And that is tomorrow. So for me, I would not go into any trade for tonight kasi volatility is already expected kasi nga month ending and monthly candle close. So you would have to look at this monthly candle close, which is this 1 month time frame. So if yun yung titingnan natin ngayon, which is the next month, if we are entering green or red. So as much as possible, we have been following ilang months na to. So 6 months, 6 consecutive months na puro pump on the first day and first week. So what do you think, guys? Will Bitcoin break the trend tomorrow, or will Bitcoin continue the trend na every first week and first day of the month doon tayo makita ng pump? So siguro you can leave down your reactions below kung ano yung tingin nyo mangyayari, pero yun nga, if history is any indication, first day of the month palagi nagpa-pump. So let's look at the comments naman. So may nagtatanong, "Sir, how do I set the 20 moving average?" So sige, ibigyan ko kayo ng example on how do you set the moving average. So in order for you to set the 20 moving average, you just have to go to technical indicator, search for moving average or MA, so moving average, and then ayun nga, moving average, and then pag naklik mo siya, you would actually see that pop out dito. So magpo-pop up siya dyan, and then you would just select format, and then click input, length, and then type mo dyan 20 moving average. So yun yung kailangan nyo tingnan, guys. So what's next for this area naman? So yun nga, after nyo maset yung moving average at 20, what you would do now is add another technical indicator, and then yun nga, type nyo lang MA or moving average, add nyo lang siya, and then set nyo lang input. For me, ang ginagamit ko na moving average is 20. So 20, 20, 50, 100, and 200 moving average. Yun yung pinakamaayos sa akin na technical indicators. So may napapansin din ako nagpo-form na inverse head and shoulders pattern for the Bitcoin price. So let's try to look at that kung meron nga ba. So let's look at hourly time frame, inverse head and shoulder. Mm, for the hourly time frame, parang walang inverse head and shoulders for the hourly time frame. Let's look at 4 hour. You could say na this is, kung ito sasabihin mo na inverse head and shoulder, pwede din, pero parang masyado siyang steep para masabing head and shoulder siya. Kung ito sasabihin mong head and shoulder, inverse head and shoulder. Pero medyo mahirap siya sabihin kung unless ma-form na talaga siya. So, sa ngayon hindi pa siya nagpa-form talaga eh. So, hindi natin siya masasabi na inverse head and shoulder talaga. So, dapat ang inverse head and shoulder is somehow similar to, let's look at a sample of an inverse head and shoulder. Dapat kasi kung inverse head and shoulder, mas kita yung kanyang head and shoulder talaga. So, that would mean Bitcoin price ganyan, and then ganyan. So, ito yung neckline na kailangan niya ma-break. So, do you think na ganyan yung nakikita nyo? I don't think so kasi nakikita natin is somehow ganito. Ganyan yung nakikita natin. So, do you think that's an inverse head and shoulder? I don't think that's a very good looking or valid inverse head and shoulder. Siguro kung medyo maayos yung itsura niya somehow like this, kahit medyo bended siya ng konti, possible na inverse head and shoulder yan. Pero pag yung sobrang steep na ganyan, parang unlikely na inverse head and shoulder siya for me. So yeah, let's try to look naman at Ethereum price action naman. So may nagka-suggest ng Ethereum. So yeah, let's dive into Ethereum naman. Burahin lang natin yung chart. So for Ethereum, let's look at our chart for Ethereum. So if you could recall for Ethereum, we have been following the daily time frame for Ethereum for a quite of time. And if you could recall, ang sabi ko sa inyo nun, Ethereum would go down to the 200 moving average. So buksan natin yung 200 moving average. So ayan no, we went down to the 200 moving average, this area. So we played that one out exactly. And kakagaling lang din natin from this ascending triangle. And we went down to this ascending triangle exactly as predicted. So yun nga, so far so good tayo for Ethereum. But now what's next for Ethereum? So let's look at the moving average and let's look at the 100 and 200 moving average. So right now, I expect Ethereum to consolidate more around this area. So ayan no, more likely na dyan tayo mag-play out for Ethereum. And if you're going to look at another moving average around this chart, 20 moving average is showing some signs of rejection at this 20 moving average. So for me, ang kailangan nyo tingnan is yung mga moving averages talaga dito sa time frame natin. So now let's look at a shorter time frame for Ethereum. So for Ethereum, we are actually also following this moving average then. So yun nga, for the early time frame, we are actually following this 20 moving average. So kailangan niya ma-break it ng 20 moving average in the early time frame. So this would mean we are playing around this level. And yeah, kailangan natin siya ma-break. So sa ngayon, I don't think maganda mag-trade ngayong gabi kasi nga magkakaroon ng early candle, ng monthly candle close anytime soon. So I don't think it's a good time to enter any trade ngayon sa candle. So if you want to enter into any trade, for me, you would have to wait for the monthly candle close para makita nyo. Kasi every monthly candle close, dun usually nagkakaroon ng volatility. Anong keys po pagbura ng mga lines? You could actually undo, Control Z. So, yun nga, Ethereum price action. And yeah, dependent pa din siya kay Bitcoin, guys. So, kahit anong pagtitiin nyo, usually, madalas sa mga altcoins, lahat sila ay dependent pa din kay Bitcoin. So, as much as possible, you should follow Bitcoin at all times para masabi natin, para makita natin kung valid yung mga technical analysis na ginagawa natin for both Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano. So, yun yung kailangan natin tingnan, which is Bitcoin price palagi. So, ayun, Bitcoin is still following this falling channel. So, yun, kailangan niya ma-break. So, anyway, I guess I'll end the live din agad kasi yun nga medyo naglalagi internet natin ngayon. So, we'll end the live siguro in 5 minutes dahil yun nga, technical problems for tonight. So, yeah, let's take a look at Cardano naman. So, let's look at Cardano. So, for Cardano naman, we are actually following Cardano for the daily time frame kasi kung titingnan mo sa daily time frame, we have been following this 200 and 100 moving average. So we also followed this ascending triangle movement for Cardano. So we broke to the downside, then we played that movement exactly as predicted then for the Cardano price action. So ayun dyan tayo nagkaroon ng drop and then we retested this area. So right now I expect for Cardano to play around this area muna, around this 100 and 200 moving average for the daily time frame. So yeah, dyan tayo more likely mag-play out. So let's also look at Cardano for the short term naman. So, for the short term ni Cardano, yun pa din, moving averages pa din yung magpe-play out for Cardano. So, as much as possible, if magkakaroon tayo ng upward movement, it would play around this level. And yeah, yun lang talaga masasabi natin ngayon kasi monthly candle close and we are expecting a big movement anytime soon for Bitcoin. Dahil nga, first day of the month anytime soon. Sir, bear flag sa BTC in 15-minute time frame. Sige, let's look at the bear flag. Mm, hindi siya bear flag, pero possible na falling wedge. So this might possibly be a falling wedge. So falling wedge is a trend reversal to the upside. So if mag-continue pa to the downside, so a falling wedge is something like this. So we could see a movement like this for the falling wedge. And then usually it breaks to the upside for a falling wedge. So yun yung kailangan nyo tingnan ngayon guys. So yun, if ma-break natin tong falling wedge, we would actually see a technical target of around this area. So yun nga, so around that area. So this is actually going back to the neckline and yeah, we could retest that again. So ayun, this is possible falling wedge and we could see a movement to the upside for a trend reversal. So anyway, let's make this live stream short and I'll end na din agad. So yeah, technical issues ngayong gabi. So yeah, hopefully sa next live maging maayos. Sir, if scalping, anong magandang time frame pagbasehan, sir? Ako kasi ang ginagawa ko pag scalping usually 15-minute time frame and hourly time frame. Never ako masyado nagda-dive into 5 minute kasi masyado siyang mabilis and yun nga, mas nakapanic doon. So, as much as possible, 15-minute to hourly time frame yung mga mas magandang tingnan na time frame for me. And yeah, ayun. Pero traditionally, ako ay more on swing trading and either swing trade or yeah, either swing trade or more on position trader ako. So long term or mid term usually ginagawa ko. Siguro mga lately lang ako nag-scalping eh kasi wala lang masyado magawa. So what do you think of market? May mga institution kayo na pumapasok na ang baba po kasi ng volume. For institution, I think you should look at this way. For institution to come in, ang hirap kasi for ako to be honest, ayoko masyado maging dependent sa institution kasi ako lagi nagbe-base sa data and if lagi ka nag-aabang sa institution, hindi mo usually makikita yung pump niya kasi pag sinabi na hindi nila sinasabi kung nag-buy or nag-sell na sila. So, pwedeng sabihin nila na hindi mo alam nag-buy na pala sila tapos saka na lang nila sasabihin yung news na yon. So, ang nangyari, tapos na yung buy. So, ayun nga, ang daming ganong senaryo na nangyari na katulad si Elon Musk, sabi niya na okay, bibili ako ng Bitcoin. Bumili na pala sila ng Bitcoin for Tesla pero ang nangyari, na-buy niya na tapos nung after niya na-buy, sa kanya lang sinabi na nakabili na siya. So, do you think nagkaroon ng pump bigla during pag-buy niya? O kailan lang nangyari siya? Di ba nangyari lang siya during the news? So, for me to be honest, wag kayo masyadong dependent sa pagsasabay ng buy ng institution kasi hindi mo alam kung talagang nag-buy na sila or hindi. Usually, sa sinasabi nila yun, nagawa na nila yung pag-buy. So, yun nga, huwag kayo masyadong dependent masyado dun sa institution buy. As much as possible, kung ano yung best psychological area na bumili, doon kayo dapat usually bumili. So yun nga. Anyway, let's end this video and siguro if you find this video informative, sana kahit pa paano nakatulong tong video kahit ang daming technical issues ngayon. If you find this video informative, please give this video a like and I'll see you in the next video. So please subscribe for more and yeah, I'll see you in the next video and bye bye for now.